I love history and I love the history of the game, but with some of these teams, you're like, you don't want to see them like fold up, but it's like, is it just
No.
time for some of these teams to move into? Welcome everyone to another episode of Balking Points, and I am one of the hosts, Trev, and still on location as I'm still recovering with my good friend Bob here, and joined as always by nearly internationally famous Scotty in undisclosed locations, trying to make
Yes.
himself more internationally famous.
G14 classified location.
G14 classified. That's exciting. All right, sir. Well, last week we went through our picks for the AL,
Yes.
and it seems only
I wanted to
appropriate.
say that at least for me, the AL seemed very mundane.
Mm,
Like we kind of knew what we were going to do. The NL, I think there's going to be some surprises, at
I
least on my end.
um Yeah, I don't know if I have any surprises. I mean, I think that the bottom teams are pretty bottom. The middle teams are, you know, I, but yeah.
There's a lot of
Uh,
flux going on right now.
well, and if we're gonna get right into this, let's get into it. Like,
Okay,
we're gonna talk about the NL East first, which we may spend more time on than any other division.
probably.
So this is probably
Let's
was
just
the
let's just preface the number five team is Washington.
yeah, 100%.
I mean, what else can you say? They are in full rebuild mode.
Is it even rebuild mode? Like, what is it at this point?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. They almost seem very much like Oakland, where they don't really have a clear path.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to go there.
No.
They tried. What was it? At one point they
Well, I
had
mean, they won
Scherzer.
their ring,
Hmm.
and like the next year they were junk
Yeah,
and got rid of everybody at the trade deadline.
yeah.
And
I
now
mean,
they're 10 years away from being relevant,
if not more.
if not more.
There's no saying what they did. If not more. So yeah, it's kind of sad. I
Yeah,
remember when they. I mean,
yeah, because I mean, you
you
figure Harper was there and
Harper was there,
Strasburg,
Strasburg, yeah, Scherzer was there at
Scherzer,
one point. Yeah, they had a
yeah,
good team.
Zimmerman. I mean,
Yep,
they were good.
yeah, it's just sad, I guess, a little bit. You know,
Hmm.
Washington had a really good history with baseball for a long time, and then
Yeah,
there wasn't a baseball team, and then there was a baseball team again, and it just doesn't seem like it's outside of that like
yeah. It
very
seems like
short.
that city has fallen on some hard times with sports teams.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at the Commanders or
I mean,
the
the
Wi-
Capitals have done some.
the Capitals have done some, but when you look at the Wizards and the
Nothing.
Commanders and nothing, yeah, it's just been a long time. So yeah,
Hmm.
so
Okay,
so yes,
let's
both of
moving on.
us
Move on.
moving on. Yeah, who are you? Well, I'm assuming our four is the same as well. Then
I don't think it is.
did you put Atlanta at four?
I put Atlanta at four.
Okay.
I think
Um,
they have lost. They've lost their two best offensive players the last 2 years, and I think it's going to be too much,
even with the bullpen.
even with the bullpen. And I am very high on Miami. The moves that they've
High,
made.
high enough to put them just third, though, I'm guessing.
I have them third, and I also have them sneaking into the last wild card spot.
Okay, see, that's where we're going to differ. a little bit. So I have Miami in 4, and
Sure.
I don't disagree with you on your moves. I mean, we can might as well just talk about Atlanta and
Sure.
Miami both here right now because
Yeah.
you put them in 3. I don't necessarily disagree with you on Miami's moves, but it's Miami. And there's
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like the last move when they got a rise from Minnesota,
Mhm,
the reigning AL batting champ, and like I like the way Jazz Chisholm plays the game. He's already
mhm.
come on record with, hey, I'll move positions, whatever you want me to do, and I'll be a Gold Glover. He's got the confidence, but he's got the talent to back it up. And they got the reigning Cy Young winner.
Yeah,
Like I mean, I know that's not everything, but they
and they have
they
good
put some pieces
pieces.
together. Yeah,
It's just it's Miami. And that's like Miami. And even when Miami wins
hmm
or does well, it's almost like unforgettable or it's forgettable. Like you're
sure.
just like you almost forget that,
Okay, yeah,
they've
they're gonna do all right and only win 73 games or something like that.
right. They just yeah, I don't know. I think Miami is just this weird like Florida baseball teams in general. When you look at Tampa
No, nobody thinks
and
about them.
they don't. They're very hard. Like Tampa, I'm a little like they've at least proven themselves a little bit more than Miami.
Sure.
But Miami's had this just like weird, like at least Tampa's been more consistent, or Miami's had this just
Yeah.
roller coaster.
See, they're on their way back this way, sir.
Oh, so they're back up. Okay. Um, I put Miami 4 just because it's Miami, and then I put
Mhm.
Atlanta 3. They were 1 last year. They're not going to be 1 this year.
No,
You
no.
know, they're
Like
the
I
two
said, I
teams.
think I think they lost enough people.
Mhm.
They lost enough pieces the last couple off seasons that it's like, okay, you lost Freeman. Okay, cool. You still have Swanson. You still have some other guys. All of a sudden, Swanson leaves too, and you're like, where are all your runs coming from?
Right. I will say this about Atlanta, and they've always had a good system
hmm
and bringing guys up. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what they had in the wings. I don't know what their minor league looks like. I don't know anything about their
Yeah, I would.
their
I
their
would
farm
say
system.
the
All
same
I
thing
will
too.
say is Atlanta doesn't stay. If this is a down year for them, they don't stay down for long.
I would agree with that.
So at least not they're they're not like a seller team. They may not
No,
be like
no,
they'll never be a seller team. They're always going to
no,
be just good enough.
no. I feel like the AL and NL East divisions are very similar. Where you have one team that's I feel is a clear last place team,
Hmm.
and then the other four are kind of going to be duking it.
Hmm. So the number 2, is it Philly for you then too?
No, it's the
Or
Mets.
did you put the Mets? Okay. All
hmm
right. So hear me out on Philly.
Okay.
And this is the only reason I'm saying it. Bryce is out for the first half of the year. And he is a powerhouse, like, he is the heart of that team. He is a lot of fun. Um, he's one of my favorite players to watch.
hmm
I love it, but I think not having him in the lineup the first half of the year is going is going to allow the Mets with all of that talent to win enough games to allow them to be first. I don't think they're the better team.
hmm
I think with Bryce Harper in the lineup, the Phillies are a much better team.
Yeah. To
But
take that a step further for me,
yeah,
I agree with you. The start's going to be difficult for Philly.
Hmm.
But I also believe that the end of the year is going to be more difficult on the Mets, given
Because of their
their
age.
yes, sir,
Okay. The geriatric unit, as
the
you would say.
geriatric
I'm
unit.
quoting Scotty there, Mets fans. Geriatric unit. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, I
The thing is I can
you,
see both these teams winning 110
well,
games.
well, I made that was one of my predictions in one of the first episodes was that this division was going to come down to that last series because they play each other in the very last series of the year,
Hmm.
and I can certainly see it coming to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it'd be cool. Like, I don't want the Mets to be one. The Phillies are a lot of fun.
I think the
Uh,
Phillies have a lot of fan support from people
mhm.
like yourself and I that enjoy watching baseball because they like to they seem to have fun playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my favorite moment last year was when Schwartz hit that just rocket of a ball,
Yeah,
and the look on Bryce Harper's face, just this is
yeah,
like, did and it's like,
yeah.
okay,
They
they're
go back
having
to their
fun.
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah. They're having fun then. So they're fun.
Mhm.
Well, I hope you're right, sir. Like, I put the Mets one, and I really, I was trying to look at it from a very analytical point of view. Like, when does
Sure.
Bryce Harper come back?
Yeah.
That's going to be the thing. And part of it is too is I will say that I did not sit here and study who everybody's playing and time, I'm basing this more off a roster that, like, if I
Sure.
really wanted to
I
break it
think that's
down
what I
and
do
go,
with most of mine too. Just who's
ba-
on the roster.
yeah, if I really wanted to break it down and start looking at strength of schedules and
Hmm.
things like that, we could have maybe saw something a little different, but I don't see, this might be like the closest race of all of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but okay, well, that's that is the NL East.
I think that was my super fun one.
Yeah, putting Philly one.
Although I think the Central is right up there as well.
Okay. Well, then I think we can both agree I'm dead last in the
I
Central,
think
sir.
I think 5 and 4 are probably going to be the same.
Yeah.
Reds,
I
Pittsburgh.
Reds Pittsburgh. Look, I mean,
You don't think Andrew McCutcheon's going to take Pittsburgh to the next level?
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. This was a few weeks back, and we were discussing about all good players that used to play for the Pirates and never
There's a
did
lot
any,
of
like, there's a lot of them. Like, you probably could write a book on all the
Mhm.
good players that used to play for the Pirates. Um, yeah, Cincinnati didn't do anything. They feel like they're in a constant rebuild, and the Pirates,
They've got a few young players that are decent, but they seem to like be getting rid of them too.
yeah, I don't know. It like I'm not I love history and I love the history of the game, but with some of these teams, you're like, you don't want to see them like fold up, but it's like, is it just
No,
time for some of these teams to move into city? Because it seems like the fan base, the ownership, like,
has kind of written them off.
yeah, like with the Pirates, you know, the Reds, Washington. Well, I don't know about Washington. We'll see what happens with them because they were good
They're
not
still
that
fairly
long.
new.
Yeah. Um, Oakland. I mean, do we need what, 7 teams in California or whatever it is that there is?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
like,
Get somebody that wants to actually
mhm,
build a decent roster.
right.
As
It's like,
good.
is it time for some, and that might be another podcast to discuss things, but is it time for some new ownership and some moving,
Sure.
some of these teams that just seem to be dead. But yeah, I mean, I I like McCutcheon. I think he's
Yeah.
been a great player for the league. I
Hmm.
love his style of play. He's got a
Hmm.
great hustle about him. He's fun, but he
He's not
might
enough.
he might win them two more games so that instead of 60 they might win 62.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
the if the Reds win 55, it's a big year.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I would probably say that the Reds, the Royals,
And
and
Oakland.
Oakland and Washington are going to be Biden for dead last this year.
Mhm.
I'll throw Boston in there just for you, sir.
We just got kicked off there.
That's all right. New York just picked
Okay.
this up. The Yankees did anyway.
Yes, sir.
All
Well,
right.
this is where it gets interesting.
Okay. Who'd you put at number three?
Milwaukee.
Okay, so did I.
Okay.
So our one and two might be a little different, but yeah,
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
I not feeling it.
I just don't see where they did anything.
Mm-mm.
And I mean,
No.
their roster was barely
Yeah.
a number
Yeah. I
two
mean, to me,
slot.
they like for me, they remind me very much of Atlanta,
Mm.
and not even
Oh,
as good as Atlanta,
hmm.
but like they just stood pat or lost some things, and you're like, well, and we'll get
But
into it when we get to number one and two, but I
yeah,
feel those teams have done more to
yeah.
take another step above them.
But I feel like Milwaukee is that team though that won't stay down forever either.
No.
There's enough love for the Milwaukee that they'll be back.
Hmm.
So
No,
yeah,
yeah.
they're going to be 70 win game team this year,
Hmm.
72 at most, and we're going to go from there with them. And then they'll do a great farm system, or they'll do something else. Maybe pick up some good pieces, and then they'll be back towards the top again in a few years. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be contending with the other two.
hmm so you're number two then, sir.
St. Louis.
Wow, really? See,
Hmm.
I couldn't even do that. I couldn't.
I wasn't going to, but I started looking at it and looking at it. And I said, I think that Yadier Molina and Pujols being gone is massive. I really do. Like I saw a stat sheet come up
Mhm.
with the amount of stolen bases against since Molina came into the league and per team. And St. Louis's was like 500 stolen bases less than number two.
Jesus.
I mean, it was considerable. And I feel like he was a very vocal leader, a
Hmm.
very necessary leader for the pitching staff, for the younger players coming in. And I think without that, I think they lose something.
I mean, it's a valid point. So I put my beloved Cubs at two. I'm not ready to anoint them at the top of the division yet. And for one reason, bullpen. Now, I will say, if we are looking really, really good, they will trade something
Mm-hmm.
and for like they'll get rid of Ian Happ and they will try to bolster the bullpen this season.
Sure.
And then if that's the case, then maybe they do make a run for that number one
Mm-hmm.
spot. But
Yeah, I
both,
think they've done enough. I really do. Like
I think in the field,
I was thinking about it like as a novelty thing, just because you're a Cubbies fan.
mhm,
But I kept on looking at it. I'm like, okay, they picked up Mancini, they picked up Hosmer. I think Suzuki, like I said in previous podcasts, I think Suzuki's really close to being an MVP candidate.
mhm.
They've got a decent starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, their bullpen certainly could use some upgrades, but I think that the rest of the division is.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. So it's really going
So
to
I
come
think it
down to
was a
bullpen.
combination of. I think it was a combination of
Mhm.
St. Louis losing what they lost and Chicago gaining what they did, and feeling they're on a trajectory upwards.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong. Like, you
Well,
know,
I know you do. Yeah.
that is, I mean, um, the other thing is what does Bellinger do for the Cubs?
No, I
If
forgot about him,
if
Swanson.
if yeah,
Like I
Swanson,
forgot about
Bellinger,
those two guys that are huge.
yeah, if Bellinger is 90% of the MVP candidate,
Mhm. They
but
don't
then
need a sticking bullpen.
no, their bats are just gonna I
Hmm.
mean, they're gonna win every game scoring 10 runs,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, but I will hold myself, because like I try not to be like, as much as I love my Cubs and as much as I want to just go fanboy on this, I hold reserve when I make these predictions and try to be honest with myself,
That's true.
you know. And
I
and
think I did. I think I did the same thing, to be honest with you, because like
mhm,
I truly believe that, and that's why I didn't even mention Bellinger and Swanson, because I thought like the other stuff was
yeah.
even good enough too. But I
Mhm.
really, really believe that St. Louis is going to take a step backwards.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you're right, sir. I like it.
Okay,
All right. Next, we
Arizona,
go.
Colorado.
I put Colorado and then Arizona. I don't know.
They might be
Whatever.
fighting it out for being dead last. Who
Dead
knows?
last. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think Colorado has enough pieces with Bryant and Blackman that theoretically they should be
they
five wins better than Arizona.
they just seem to find a way to end up last.
Sure.
Where like some teams find a way to win, they just seem to find a way to lose. It just,
Hmm.
you
No, you're not
know,
wrong.
and it's kind of sad because in a way I like Colorado. I
Mm-hmm.
love the ballpark. It's a
Well,
fun
it's great.
ballpark.
Yeah.
It's got a good fan base. Denver's a great city. I I
Yes.
w- I would really, I think it'd be great for
I think when they made
Denver.
that run and played the Red Sox in the World
Hmm.
Series, it was a huge deal.
Yeah, I think it'd be great for Denver if they were more of a
Perennially,
consistent,
yeah.
yeah, instead of just what
Every
they
now and
are.
then being a flash in the pan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Arizona, that's another team. I'm like,
Don't know what they're doing.
maybe, the, why do we have a baseball team in Arizona?
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. Uh,
Number three, I got San Francisco,
me too. You know,
and I
they
had them
they
missing out on the playoffs too.
me too.
You
Yeah.
know, I they went hard after Judge. They went hard after Correa. Didn't get either one. They lost Rodon.
Hmm.
They're they've taken a step back.
They've taken a huge step back and they
Hmm.
missed big.
Hmm.
Um,
I think they had all their chips into landing one, if not both, of those players, and they didn't have a plan B.
yeah, I think they missed on a lot of opportunity.
Hmm.
You know, like the Cubs got Bellinger there. I mean, it would have been very easy for San Francisco to say, here, we only paid him 17 million, but here's 18. Come up
Yeah,
here.
Here's
And
Judge. Here's
yeah,
Bellinger. Why don't we go after this guy?
right.
Get him on a prove me deal.
Yep.
And
And then if he plays out great, but then,
mhm,
the Cubs signed the shortstop, you
yeah,
know, and who was one of the 50,000 shortstops available this offseason for, basically, well, not quite half, but yeah, maybe it was half of what they were going to offer Carrera.
great, yeah,
So you could have easily paid, $25 million more than the Cubs were willing to
mhm,
offer,
sure,
and just tacked on an extra year essentially,
yeah,
and would have signed that. But they were just all in on Judge. They were all in on Carrera, and that was it. And then when they did get Carrera, they were like, "No, we're not going to take Carrera."
yeah,
And they
like
were worried about this leg thing, that seemed like the Mets then became worried about it, and then the Twins were like, "Whatever, we're just going to take him."
we're just gonna pay it, yeah,
Yeah, and hopefully for the Twins that works out. But
yeah.
all right, sir. I'm kind of feeling that we might have the same
We
two and
may
one. Yeah,
got the Dodgers at 2,
I have the Dodgers at two.
and I think it is honestly more because I think the Padres have that stacked of a roster.
Hmm.
Then I believe that the Dodgers don't.
I think the Dodgers are a good team.
I think they're a great team.
I
Absolutely.
don't think they're going to win as many games this year.
No, no, I think without Bellinger,
Hmm.
uh,
They lost a
I feel like
couple of guys.
I feel like there's some other guys in there that they don't have.
Mhm.
But, you know, they still have a wildly talented roster. And,
Mhm.
come trade deadline or they're close, they're going to spend whatever.
Right.
Um, but my God, look at the Padres lineup.
When was the last time you said,
And
"My God, look at the Padres lineup"?
that's without Tatis for the first
Yeah.
20 games. you
Right.
know. So like you look at that lineup with Soto and Machado
Oh my God.
and
They're
Bogart.
going. I mean,
I
if
mean,
you
it
tell
just
me
go on and on and on and on.
they're going to win 120 games this year, I would not be surprised. I
So the
mean,
only reason I would think they wouldn't because the Dodgers are good enough to
mm,
keep that in check a little bit.
and they're going to have to play the Mets, and they're going to have to play Philly. The NL,
I mean, they have to play everybody.
right? But the NL top,
Hmm.
like the NL bottom is bad, but the NL top is scary good.
Yeah, yeah. Like the
Is
AL, there's a couple of top tier, and then a lot of middle of the pack, and then
hmm
some crap. The NL, there's a ton of top end talent, and then like there's not a whole lot of middle
no, no,
middle
like
ground kind of
St.
teams.
Louis and the Cubs would be like your probably your middle,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then when you look at like Philly and New York, and then you look at the Dodgers and Padres, you're just like, geez, oh Pete's.
yes,
Yeah, it's gonna be like, if you, I think the game like I want to like go find is like, okay, when do the Phillies and the
like San
Padres
Diego.
play? Because I would love to be at
Second half
that
of the
game.
season because we want Harper to be
Yeah, exactly,
playing. Hmm.
100%. So yeah, it's going to be exciting and exciting.
I agree.
So real quick, our playoffs are going to be a little different. Uh,
Yep.
mine, I've got New York uh, taking the division, and Philly with the wild card. I have St. Louis taking the division with the Cubbies taking the wild card. And then I have the Padres taking the division with the Dodgers taking the wild card.
Yep. So
So,
I got Philly taking the division, Mets with a wild card, Miami with a wild card, Chicago with the division win, St. Louis not making it,
mhm.
San Diego winning the division, LA with a wild card.
Okay.
which that makes a really fun first round of 4 versus 5 Dodgers Mets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be a fun first round.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NL playoffs this year are
Could
going to
be
be
really fun.
they're going to be fun. They're going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, sir. Well, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, just go ahead and like, subscribe,
Yes.
check
Yep.
out the rest of our videos.
Yeah. Check out the rest. If you want to know what we thought about the AL, go ahead and do that. And, next week we've got pitchers and catchers reporting. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit and, you know, what our early thoughts are and what we hear from spring training and stuff. But,
Yeah, hard to believe
yeah,
that it's
it's on us,
coming
but
that fast. Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm ready for some baseball.
me too.
So, all right. Well, until the next episode, folks, batter up.